It is day 2 and the final day here at the proudly South African Buy Local Summit and Expo under the theme Growing the Economy and Creating Jobs Through Localization. And to wrap up this event for us, I have here the proudly SA CEO, Eustace Mashimbye. Thank you so much for joining us. Just give us an overview of how had it been so far in these 2 days.
So far, it's really went well. We are happy with the fact that we have had representation from all sectors of society, all coming to commit to localization, and that's what the proudly South African Buy Local campaign is about. It's about people committing to buying locally made products, whether for their businesses, for their homes, and even as the public sector, we currently have a panel now, which is a representation of all of those sectors of society, delving into a case study of the clothing, textile, footwear, and leather industry, where this, collaboration mechanism has worked. There's an accord signed by all of the social partners where they've agreed to all endeavor to utilize their procurement spend to ensure that they grow the economy. And so that's what this summit has been able to achieve. We're almost at the end. We're at day 2, and we saw commitments from the private sector yesterday, 27 solid local procurement commitments from the private sector. And that was the biggest thing that we needed to unlock with this conference, because we think the collective spend in the private sector, just like the collective spend in the public sector, will help turn the economy around.
And what are you doing so far? I mean, South Africans, they still have a challenge of trusting South African products, local products. How can you change the mindsets of those who are still hesitant in buying locally made products?
There's a big element of consumer education in this conference, and that's why, despite the fact that it's hosted in Gauteng, it is streamed nationally to anyone sitting anywhere in the country, because the objective is to say to consumers, when you buy a locally made product that carries the proudly South African logo as an example, you know that it's been vetted for quality. So you can trust that it will meet the need for which it is procured. You can trust that when you are looking for a product that you think must be coming from South Africa, when it's gone through the vetting process of proudly South African as an organization, that the product indeed contains raw material sourced locally, components sourced locally, and the value addition of all of those raw materials into the final product happened within the borders of South Africa, and jobs have been created in the process.
CEO, under the theme Creating Jobs, Growing the Economy Through Localization, just remind us one more time what that means.
And this means that if we all consciously choose to buy products that are made locally. I mean, we've heard the story from many buyers who said they were buying without giving consideration as to where the product comes from. Right now, the theme talks to us getting people to choose to look for the country of origin label, to choose to ask the entrepreneur that is supplying them with the product where it comes from, and knowing that if it says made in South Africa, it comes from within the borders of South Africa. You have helped us grow the economy, which is ailing. You have helped us deal with this huge unemployment problem that affects all of us. We all know someone is unemployed, and how can we all contribute? All of us do spend money on some product or commodity or service on a day-to-day basis. All we need to do is that, as best as possible, where there is a local alternative, when facing a purchasing decision where you have to choose between an imported product and a locally made one, choose wisely and choose to create jobs within our economy.
What can the entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs take away from this 2-day event?
What we've done for entrepreneurs is we've created an access to market platform through an expo that runs alongside this conference. We've invited buyers. In fact, a couple of minutes from now, there's a buyers session where we are talking to buyers and educating them about the fact that there is a base of companies that they can trust. They've always said to us, we don't know where to find these companies. And so we're bringing entrepreneurs closer to buyers. A buyer receives hundreds and hundreds of emails and phone calls on a day-to-day basis. Which entrepreneur do they trust? Which one do they give attention to? And so we are creating an opportunity for entrepreneurs to engage with buyers in a way that they would not have been able to on an ordinary day. And so access to market for locally made products is what we are doing for entrepreneurs over this period. If your product is imported, this is not the place for you to be. But if your product is made in South Africa, if you're rendering a service utilizing machinery and equipment that is sourced locally, then this is the place for you to be. We will help consumers know your product, help consumers buy from you so that they can then develop an affinity towards your brand. find and continue to buy from you even beyond this exhibition, because it is open to the public. And that is what this flagship event that we host annually seeks to achieve.
Thank you so much for your time. Well, you have heard it from Proudly SA CEO telling us that entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs can come to Proudly SA to gain knowledge and information on how to be part of localization in the country whilst creating jobs and growing the economy. Back to you in studio.